Did China's AI startup DeepSeek secretly steal OpenAI's technology? OpenAI claims they have proof that DeepSeek used their model's outputs to train a competitor, violating intellectual property laws. But here's the twist. DeepSeek's own AI sometimes claims to be developed by OpenAI. Could this be the smoking gun that leads to a major lawsuit, or is OpenAI just trying to control the AI race? Let's break it down.
DeepSeek.
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 DeepSeek. DeepSeek.
DeepSeek.
And there's substantial evidence that what DeepSeek did here.
AI from a Chinese company should be a wake-up call for our industries that we need to be laser-focused on.
OpenAI is essentially claiming that it has evidence showing China's DeepSeek used its model outputs to train a competitor. They allege that DeepSeek incorporated OpenAI's generated responses into the training process of its own model. This development is particularly significant, as DeepSeek's ability to achieve notable performance at a relatively low development cost has stirred interest in the stock market. This revelation is critical because it raises the possibility of OpenAI taking legal action against DeepSeek for alleged intellectual property theft. One key piece of evidence that has been circulating online is a screenshot showing that when DeepSeek is asked, "Who are you?" during casual interactions, it sometimes refers to itself as a large language model developed by OpenAI. This occurrence happens because if a model is trained using OpenAI's outputs, it would naturally reproduce responses in which OpenAI's models refer to themselves. That is exactly what appears to be happening with DeepSeek. If DeepSeek were an independently developed model, it should accurately identify itself as a product of DeepSeek. However, in multiple instances, it claims to be developed by OpenAI, which is concerning in the midst of the current controversy. Recently, it seems DeepSeek has adjusted its behavior. Now, if you ask it, "Who developed you?" it responds that it was developed by DeepSeek. Yet the earlier instances where it identified as an OpenAI model strongly suggest that it was trained on OpenAI's outputs. Additionally, OpenAI has mentioned that it discovered further evidence indicating that the Chinese AI startup DeepSeek used OpenAI's proprietary models to train its own open-source competitor, fueling further concerns over a potential breach of intellectual property. Essentially, what OpenAI is alleging is that they have detected signs of model distillation. In machine learning, distillation is a process where the knowledge of a large, comprehensive teacher model is transferred to a smaller, more resource-efficient student model. The smaller model learns to mimic the nuanced behavior of the teacher model by being trained on its outputs. In this situation, the teacher model is OpenAI's proprietary system, and OpenAI believes DeepSeek used this technique to replicate its capabilities. Interestingly, OpenAI itself has employed distillation methods, for instance, distilling the abilities of its advanced models, such as GPT-5 or possibly Orion, though the exact name remains unclear, into smaller models like GPT-4o to make them more cost-effective to deploy. Consider, for example, what Grok CEO Jonathan Ross has said about the distillation process and how DeepSeek was able to rapidly enhance its AI capabilities using OpenAI's output.
If there's a really good model already right here, just have it generate the data and you go whoop, right up to where it is. And that's what they did. So it is true that they spent about 6 million or whatever it was on the training. They spent a lot more distilling or scraping the OpenAI model to go here. And then the other thing is, keep in mind, OpenAI was effectively subsidizing accidentally the training of this model because they were using OpenAI, right? And rumors are that OpenAI may not be completely profitable yet in terms of every token in the API. Like on the subscriptions, maybe, but in the API. And so each one that they generate, effectively, they were losing a little bit of money while DeepSeek was getting training data.
He says that DeepSeek is obtaining training data for their model, which is pretty crazy when you really think about it. Overall, it appears that DeepSeek may have been sourcing data from OpenAI. The article goes on to explain that developers employ this technique to boost performance on smaller models by leveraging outputs from larger, more advanced ones. This strategy enables them to achieve similar results on specific tasks at a much lower cost. Distillation is a common industry practice, but the concern is that DeepSeek was using it to develop their own competing model, which violates OpenAI's terms of service, something we'll discuss shortly. The truly surprising aspect is that OpenAI has not provided specific details of its evidence. In its terms of service, OpenAI states that users cannot copy its services to create a competitor, But that isn't the main focus here. The key issue is that OpenAI hasn't disclosed concrete details, and that absence is significant. Had they done so, DeepSeek might have been able to cover its tracks. For example, I previously mentioned that DeepSeek sometimes referred to itself as OpenAI. They have since removed that reference, so whenever it refers to itself, it explicitly states, "I am DeepSeek." That detail is crucial because if a model is genuinely self-trained, it shouldn't mistakenly claim to be a large language model developed by OpenAI. DeepSeek will likely argue that they trained their model on a large portion of the internet, which inevitably contains references to OpenAI's work. That defense could hold some weight. However, consider what David Sachs, the AI czar, the government-appointed leader responsible for overseeing and managing AI policies, regulations, and strategies, said in a recent interview. He stated that it's entirely possible DeepSeek used this method to achieve the capabilities of its current model.
Well, it's possible. There's a technique in AI called distillation, which you're going to hear a lot about, and it's when one model learns from another model. Effectively, what happens is that the student model asks the parent model a lot of questions, just like a human would learn. But AIs can do this, asking millions of questions, and they can essentially mimic the reasoning process that they learn from the parent model, and they can kind of suck the knowledge out of the parent model. And there's substantial evidence that what DeepSeek did here is they distilled the knowledge out of OpenAI's models. And I don't think OpenAI is very happy about this. And I think one of the things you're going to see over the next few months is our leading AI companies taking steps to try and prevent distillation. And so we'll see if the leading AI companies can prevent distillation by third-party companies. That would definitely slow down some of these copycat models.
By examining OpenAI's terms of service, one can see that an explicit restriction prevents users from leveraging their outputs to build models that directly compete with OpenAI. In this context, DeepSeek appears to be a direct competitor. Should this be the case, OpenAI might have grounds to sue them on several counts. Moreover, the terms prohibit users from assisting others in reverse engineering, decompiling, or otherwise uncovering the source code or the underlying components of OpenAI's services, including their models, algorithms, or systems. This clearly violates the terms of service, and it would not be surprising if OpenAI initiated legal action against DeepSeek on these bases. The article further notes that it is common for startups and academic researchers to use outputs from human-aligned commercial large language models, LLMs, such as ChatGPT, to train their own models. A PhD researcher at the University of California, Berkeley, commented that this approach benefits from human feedback, making it unsurprising if DeepSeek followed a similar method. However, completely preventing this practice poses a significant challenge. Distinguishing between someone casually interacting with a model and someone systematically extracting outputs to train another system is complex. OpenAI cannot simply implement strict rate limits without severely impacting the service experience for developers. This places them in a difficult position when trying to identify and address such activities. The article also points out that Chinese companies, among others, frequently attempt to replicate models from leading US AI firms. In its most recent statement, OpenAI acknowledged this ongoing challenge and stressed that they employ countermeasures to protect their intellectual property, including carefully selecting which capabilities to incorporate in their released models. It is crucial that we collaborate closely with the US government to safeguard our most capable models from adversaries and competitors seeking to acquire US technology. This would not be the first instance of China copying US technology. There have been numerous cases of China stealing trade secrets through various means. For instance, on March 7, 2024, an ex-Google engineer was charged with stealing AI secrets. A former Google software engineer was accused by US authorities of pilfering trade secrets related to AI while secretly working for 2 Chinese companies. This individual allegedly stole over 500 confidential files, a revelation that shocked many. Given past occurrences, it would not be surprising if similar information were distilled from a publicly available model. Amid these developments, an ironic situation is unfolding. Many observers have questioned whether OpenAI can genuinely complain about DeepSeek distilling knowledge from OpenAI's Q model into R1, considering that OpenAI itself has previously scraped all publicly available data on the internet without compensating anyone. Adding to the irony, OpenAI recently, accidentally, deleted potential evidence in a training data lawsuit. In essence, OpenAI is saying, "Hey, DeepSeek, why are you copying our data?" Yet critics counter with, How can OpenAI accuse others of data copying when they themselves have used publicly available data without permission? Furthermore, the accidental erasure of critical evidence in their lawsuit only complicates matters. These are wild times in AI. Another interesting facet is how language models are evaluated via benchmarks. One particularly insightful benchmark is LM-ETH's chatbot arena, which independently evaluates models based on human feedback. In this setup, a prompt is submitted to a chatbot that then generates two responses. An evaluator, blind to which model produced which response, selects the superior one. Over time, this method reveals user preferences through these blind tests. Currently, DeepSeek is tied for first place with ChatGPT and Gemini's new model, indicating a competitive edge. Despite my reservations about certain benchmarks, others like SimpleBench focus on assessing reasoning skills, genuine human-like reasoning. For example, questions might ask how long it takes for ice to melt or tackle other common-sense problems. While the human baseline hovers around 85%, DeepSeek R1 only scores about 30%, highlighting its significant struggles in this area. So what happens next? If OpenAI takes legal action, this could set a major precedent for AI development and intellectual property rights. But with OpenAI itself facing criticism for how it gathered data, the situation isn't so black and white. Is this a justified fight to protect innovation or just another battle in the AI arms race? Let me know what you think in the comments.